The sky was no longer blue. Thick, swirling clouds seemed to be distorted by an invisible hand, the air so heavy that every breath carried the smell of burnt metal. Rain began to fall. Not the gentle rain of nature, but cold, heavy raindrops falling on a battlefield ravaged beyond recognition. Saitama looked amidst the rubble at Genos' motionless body. Saitama couldn't believe what he was seeing. Genos, once a gleaming machine, was now nothing but twisted pieces of metal, wires exposed like torn internal organs. Genos' chest was completely destroyed, the place that once emitted energy now a charred void. The sight was agonizing, like witnessing a life being taken away. Saitama and everyone else knew Genos had tried. Genos had tried to restructure and restore his energy core, but all his efforts failed. Genos' core was no longer connected to his body. The only thing left was his mechanical heart. This tiny core, containing Genos' entire will, memories, and fighting spirit, was held in Saitama's hand. Saitama gripped it tightly, not out of fear of dropping it, but because he wouldn't allow himself to let go. Raindrops fell on his bare hand, mixing with machine oil and dust. The battlefield was eerily silent. No more explosions, no more monster roars. Only the steady sound of rain, like a mournful melody for the fallen. Just as the thought of revenge for Genos crossed Saitama's mind, the distant sky began to distort. A figure appeared, standing in the middle of the sky as if gravity had no meaning. Garou. But no longer the Garou the world once knew. His body emitted a strange light, as if enveloped by the very essence of the universe. Nebula-like patterns moved across his skin, his deep eyes seemingly containing the entire starry sky. Garou's appearance made the atmosphere heavier than ever. Saitama knew this was no longer an ordinary battle. Garou's appearance foreshadowed a catastrophe. Saitama stood there, motionless. Saitama looked down at Genos' corpse. Saitama didn't panic. He didn't scream. He didn't shed tears. That familiar, emotionless face remained unchanged, like the still surface of an ancient well. Saitama's body trembled slightly when he saw Genos' heart emitting a faint light, a final heartbeat, struggling to survive. The only thing left of his student who had always followed him and believed in him unconditionally. Saitama looked up at Garou, but said nothing. A murderous aura began to spread, not yet unleashed, but already intense, like the pressure of the ocean floor crushing the entire battlefield. This was a rare instance of Saitama being truly angry. From above, Garou observed everything from Saitama's actions to the energy emanating from his body. Garou could sense everything, from the flow of energy in space to the structure of matter, the rhythm of the universe. Every small movement was within Garou's comprehension. This was no longer mere martial prowess, but an understanding of the laws of existence. Garou's smile reflected his evolution far beyond that of a human. Garou could copy and analyze all of his opponent's attacks and retaliate at a higher level. Garou's body constantly adapted, constantly surpassing its previous limits with each counterattack. Therefore, Garou believed he had become the ultimate being. Without a signal or warning, Saitama unleashed his first punch, the shockwave erupting and spreading in a circular pattern, tearing through the atmosphere. The remaining monsters were blown away and vanished in an instant. The ground cracked, massive boulders flying up like toys. In the sky, meteorites began to be pulled down by gravitational turbulence. Perhaps Earth couldn't withstand this battle. Garou retaliated with a powerful kick, sending Saitama flying off the planet's surface. Saitama deliberately allowed himself to be hit. It wasn't a mistake. His body flew out of the atmosphere, through space. In the blink of an eye, the battlefield had shifted from Earth to the Moon. Then Mars, and further still to places where there was no life left to be destroyed. This was Saitama's choice, a responsible one. Elsewhere in space, mysterious entities sensed the instability. The shockwave from the battle was powerful enough to threaten the entire solar system. Garou laughed loudly as he unleashed Sirius' punch. A punch identical to Saitama's in trajectory speed. and power. The two punches clashed, tearing through the surrounding space, shattering light like glass. Garou had been mistaken in believing he had reached Saitama's level. Garou evolved to Saitama's level, while Saitama himself grew rapidly in both speed and intellect. Saitama's emotions were no longer suppressed. Saitama channeled pain, anger, and loss into boundless power. Saitama still clutched Genos' core, a reminder of what he was fighting for. Saitama's transformation was beyond Garou's comprehension. Fear began to show in Garou's eyes. The explosion of power from Saitama caused space to tremble as if about to shatter. Each step Saitama took caused the ground to crumble, invisible waves of energy sweeping across the battlefield. Garou tried to charge forward, unleashing frenzied counterattacks, but all were overwhelmed by Saitama's incredible speed and weight. Saitama's eyes were no longer empty, but burned with a cold, ruthless will. Garou began to retreat, his breath coming in short gasps, feeling for the first time the powerlessness before an insurmountable force. A punch from Saitama landed, tearing through the air and creating a massive crater. Garou was thrown back, his body falling into the rubble, while Saitama remained standing, clutching Genos' core, as if vowing never to be broken. Saitama turned back to Genos in hope, for the energy core in his hand had not yet extinguished. It still pulsed weakly, like a heart that had never surrendered. Saitama gives Garou one last chance, a path back, because Saitama fights not to prove his strength, but to preserve what is most precious in a crumbling world. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave comments to help me make better videos. Subscribe to support the channel. Thank you everyone.